Hey guys, Karan Binani from Mobi Scrub here, and we'd be reviewing the Galaxy J8, which has been launched for $18,990. Owing to this price point and specifications, it seems to be a perfect mid-level smartphone, but whether it's really worth the money is something we'll decide in the video. Let's quickly uncover all the contents of the box before we get into the review and, get away with that. So you've got the Galaxy J8, seems pretty big, but let's come back to that later. Inside, you've got your usual documentation, that's the quick start guide. Then you've got the microUSB cable, the standard microUSB cable. Then your regular normal wall charger. It's not a fast charger. And at the end, you've got the earphones. It's one of those normal earphones that come with, the mid-level smartphones. Okay, and that's pretty much inside the box along with the ejection pin. So that's it. Now, let's talk about the Galaxy J8. There is only one variant, that's the 64 gigs onboard storage phone, and it's powered by a 1.8 GHz Snapdragon 450 Octa-core processor backed up with 4 gigs of RAM. It features a 6.0-inch 720p Super AMOLED display and is running the latest Android 8 Oreo, and we'll talk more about the display and the software in the video ahead. At the back, you get a dual camera setup with one 16-megapixel shooter with aperture f1.7 and a 5-megapixel lens with aperture at f1.9. And it can shoot up to full HD videos, not 4K videos. Which is a bit weird because there are some phones in this price range that do offer 4K video recording. But do you really need 4K video recording is the question. In the front, you get a 16-megapixel camera with an aperture of f1.9 and a front-facing LED flash, so you get bright selfies even in pitch-dark conditions. And guys, before we move on with the rest of the review, it'll be great if you could just hit that subscribe button. I'm really trying to reach to 100,000 subscribers, and you could help me reach that real soon. Talking about the build of the device, it's pretty standard and nothing that would blow your socks off, but it feels pretty good for a mid-level Android smartphone. You get a polycarbonate unibody built in this soft matte finish black color, which gives it a nice sophisticated look, and the quality doesn't seem too flimsy or cheap. But obviously the size is not that convenient, and that's okay because you're getting this really massive screen and you probably wanted it. So yeah, it's not very easy to use using just one hand, but there is a one-handed mode that you could enable and still make one-hand use possible. From a design perspective, it's Infinity Display, which is essentially a close to bezel-less 18.5:9 screen ratio, delivering a really immersive experience. So the bezels are slimmer than many of its competitors, but really don't expect it's anything close to flagships like the Galaxy S9 or the OnePlus 6 or iPhone X. The chin and the forehead of the device are quite significant and far from a bezel-less design, to be honest. The phone is not waterproof or water resistant, so be careful, and you've got a fingerprint sensor at the back, and the phone also supports face unlocking. Like all other Samsung mid-level smartphones, the Galaxy J8 can support 2 SIM cards and one microSD card to expand storage by 256 gigs simultaneously. Like most other phones in this segment, you get a microUSB port and not a Type-C port. It's just pretty much what's happening in this segment. Also, no notification LED, and I don't know why not, but it's just something that's missing. Alright, let's talk performance. The device is powered by a 1.8 GHz Snapdragon 450 processor with 4 gigs of RAM, and all of this is just about alright. The benchmark scores are not really that high, and it's mediocre at 70,000. The Redmi Note 5, the Honor 7X, and the Asus Zenfone Max Pro, all devices are actually significantly cheaper yet give higher benchmark scores, so if performance is something you're buying a device for, maybe you should think about it. So, is the device slow? Not at all. I mean, it's not blazing fast, and that's alright because you're not paying a lot of money, but are apps launching quickly? Are you able to multitask smoothly? Mostly, yes, but it's probably not going to be as smooth and as fast as, an Honor 7X or a Zenfone Max. So to test the performance, we also tried some high-definition games like Asphalt 8 in front of you, and you'd be surprised there's absolutely no lag or any delay in this game. And despite the fact that the screen is just a 720p display, there's actually no pixelation, and I think Asphalt 8 has optimized itself fairly well for this device. And then we tried Modern Combat 5, which also plays very smoothly, and again, no lag or any delay. But the graphic quality is not as high as it was in Asphalt 8, and I'm guessing Modern Combat 5 couldn't optimize itself pretty well for the Galaxy J8. And then we tried Chameleon Run, which also played very smoothly, and you can see it in front of you. There's absolutely no lag or delay, and a lot of phones that I know of in this segment do lag when it comes to chameleon run. But the Galaxy J8 is doing a fairly good job, and you could see the colors, they also look pretty good. And now let's talk about the display. It's a 6-inch Super AMOLED display with a resolution of 720 by 1480 pixels. Yes, 720p and not full HD. While it doesn't look bad for the most bit, it does mean that your gaming and video viewing experience is not going to be as sharp and crisp as it could be on other smartphones in this category that do offer full HD. But in general use, if you're browsing your gallery or using apps like WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, it doesn't really matter a lot. It does matter for sure, but not so much. And even the kind of wallpapers that you put or you download, they also look pretty well. I mean, they look just fine. But yes, gaming and video watching is not going to be to their full capacities. But the display is quite bright, it's very colorful, very punchy, very vivid, and that's what you get with Super AMOLED displays. Unfortunately, you don't get auto brightness mode in the Galaxy J8, but you do get an outdoor mode so that when you're outside in the sun, the phone's readability or the screen's readability is fairly high. On the software side, the Galaxy J8 is running Android 8.0 Oreo with Samsung Experience version 9, which is the latest Samsung Experience offering. It comes with a few preloaded apps like the Google Suite of Apps, the Microsoft Suite of Apps, and some Samsung goodies like SmartThings, Voice Recorder, Internet Browser, Samsung Pay Mini, Samsung Mall, Secure Folder, and Samsung Notes. There is also a new feature called Chat over Video, which allows users to chat while they're watching a video, and it works with WhatsApp and native messaging only when you're watching YouTube or something on VLC or the native inbuilt video player. And lastly, let's talk about the camera. I've already told you about the hardware. Let me just explain the software to you real quick. You've got a couple of modes like auto, you've got stickers, burst shots, live focus, beauty mode, pro mode, panorama, and night mode. But to see how well the camera really works, I took a couple of samples, indoors, outdoors, in the evening, during the night, and they came out really well, most of them at least. The colors look really nice, they're not overly saturated, so that's pretty good. They all look natural, right? And I took a couple of macro shots as well, and even they came out fairly nice. So you could see that in front of you. I got really close to the subject, and it did a phenomenal job of focusing on the right object. And even the dynamic range, in this photo, for example, it looks really good. I got really close to the subject as well, and then took a shot, and again, it did a phenomenal job. And then I also took some portrait shots that also came out really nice. Then I also tried the portrait background blur shape, and you can see what happened with that. And then I tried the portrait dolly mode, which is sort of interesting. And then I took some shots in really dark lighting conditions in auto mode, not in night mode, because very frankly speaking, auto mode is pretty much what you use most of the times. And I think the shots were just about fine. Nothing that was really impressive, and I guess given the price range of the phone, it's a decent job. And now coming to the video capturing capability of the Galaxy J8, it does shoot full HD videos, and here is the real sample right in front of you. It was shot in a weather condition that was something like between sunny and cloudy. It kept fluctuating, but I think it did a phenomenal job. It's a pretty good footage, to be very honest. Colors look really natural, and when I took the camera up to the sky, I could see the clouds very clearly, and it handled light pretty well. But what it can't do really well is, while shooting, it can't really focus nicely on an object that's very close, despite the fact that it can take great macro pictures. And another problem was that the exposure here, the exposure control was a bit out of hand. So it overexposes the white flower, but then if I tap on the flower, then it focuses the light better. So that was another thing. And if you move away, it then overexposes again. And here's one more full HD footage that I took when I was in one of the launches, and the lighting conditions are fairly dark. So I think it did a phenomenal job there. But the problem of how it adjusts to light changes, from an exposure standpoint, you'll see that happen again, So suddenly, when the screen went bright, I had to tap on the right side to focus on adaptive, and then tap on the left side to focus on the baby image to really see what it was. So that's just something, that could be a problem if videos is something that you really want to buy this phone for. And again, it does not shoot 4K videos. Other phones in this category do give you that option. But really, I don't really use 4K video footage a lot, so that's just something you can think about. From a selfie point of view, there are a couple of options. You've got selfie focus, which is like selfie portrait, so that your background is blur. You get wide selfies and you get stickers as well. Wide selfie is basically you taking a panoramic shot of a selfie, so you just get like more people involved and you get a bigger selfie image. So overall, it's a solid build device with a massive AMOLED colorful and bright display, a pleasant polycarbonate build, also a very impressive battery life at 3500 mAh. But a few negatives include a weak processor, lack of full HD display, an average camera without 4K video recording, and hence a not very acceptable price point. So that's it on the Galaxy J8 guys. Hope you guys really enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button.